The morning sun cast long shadows across the rocky terrain of the Afghan mountains as Navy SEAL Team 7 prepared for what would become one of the most challenging missions of their deployment. Staff Sergeant Maria Santos adjusted her rifle scope for the third time, checking the clarity of her view across the valley below. The intelligence briefing had been clear. A high-value target was hiding in a compound nestled between two ridgelines, protected by an unknown number of enemy fighters. Maria had been with the team for 8 months now, the only female sniper in a unit that had initially questioned her presence. At 28, she had already proven herself in 3 previous deployments, but this team was different. They were older, more experienced, and had worked together for years before she joined. Earning their respect hadn't been easy, but her shooting skills and tactical awareness had gradually won them over. Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison gathered his 8-man team around a makeshift table constructed from ammunition crates. The mission parameters were straightforward on paper, but complex in execution. They needed to extract a captured CIA operative who had been gathering intelligence on Taliban leadership movements in the region. The operative, call sign Raven, had been missing for 72 hours after his cover was blown during a routine information exchange. The compound sits in a natural bowl, Morrison explained, pointing to aerial photographs taken by drone surveillance. 3 main buildings, with the largest structure likely housing our target. Intelligence suggests between 15 and 20 hostiles armed with standard AK-47s and possibly some heavier weapons. Petty Officer First Class Tommy Chun, the team's demolitions expert, studied the photos carefully. What about escape routes? This place looks like a natural trap if things go sideways. Morrison nodded grimly. That's why we're going in light and fast. 2 vehicles, minimal equipment. Santos will provide overwatch from the eastern ridge while the rest of us move in for extraction. Time on target is estimated at 12 minutes maximum. Maria examined her assigned position on the topographical map. The eastern ridge offered excellent visibility of the entire compound, but it also meant she would be operating alone, nearly 1,000 meters from the rest of her team. If enemy forces discovered her position, she would have limited options for escape or support. "What's the backup plan if I get compromised?" she asked, tracing potential enemy approach routes with her finger. "You don't get compromised," Morrison replied with a slight smile. "That's why you're up there instead of down here with us." The team spent the next 2 hours reviewing every detail of the mission. Weather conditions were favorable, with clear skies and minimal wind. The compound had been under surveillance for 18 hours, with enemy activity patterns indicating reduced alertness during early morning hours. The extraction needed to happen before full daylight exposed their movements to potential reinforcements from nearby villages. Sergeant First Class David Kim, the team's communications specialist, tested radio frequencies and confirmed satellite uplink connectivity. "We'll have real-time intelligence updates throughout the mission," he reported. "Drone coverage will maintain visual on the compound and surrounding area." As the team conducted final equipment checks, Maria focused on her rifle setup. Her M24 sniper weapon system had been customized with a high-powered scope capable of accurate shots at extreme distances. She carried 120 rounds of match-grade ammunition, enough for sustained engagement if the situation demanded it. Her secondary weapon, a compact M4 carbine, would serve as backup if enemy forces closed to shorter ranges. The drive to the insertion point took 45 minutes through winding mountain roads that barely qualified as paths. 2 modified Humvees, painted in desert camouflage and stripped of unnecessary equipment for weight reduction, carried the team toward their destiny. Maria rode in the lead vehicle, mentally rehearsing shooting positions and range calculations. 5 minutes to insertion, Morrison announced over the radio. "Remember, this is a rescue mission, not a destruction mission. We get in, find Raven, and get out. Minimal engagement unless absolutely necessary." The vehicle stopped in a concealed position behind a large rock formation that provided natural cover from the target compound. Maria gathered her equipment and began the solo climb toward her overwatch position. The terrain was challenging, with loose rocks and steep inclines that required careful navigation in the pre-dawn darkness. Reaching her designated position took 28 minutes of careful climbing. Maria established her hide site behind a cluster of boulders that offered protection while maintaining clear sight lines to the compound below. Through her scope, she could see the three main buildings, several smaller outbuildings, and what appeared to be guard positions at strategic locations. "Overwatch in position," she reported quietly into her radio. "I have visual on the entire compound, counting 6 visible hostiles, all armed. No sign of unusual activity." Morrison's voice crackled through her earpiece. "Copy that. We're beginning our approach. Maintain visual and report any changes in enemy disposition." The SEAL team moved with practiced precision through the valley below. Maria tracked their progress through her scope, simultaneously monitoring the compound for signs of enemy awareness. The guards appeared relaxed, with 2 individuals smoking cigarettes near the main building entrance. As the team reached their final approach position, Maria noticed movement in one of the smaller buildings. A figure emerged carrying what appeared to be a radio device. Her finger moved instinctively to her trigger as she assessed the potential threat. "Possible communications equipment spotted in Building 2, she whispered into her radio. "Individual with radio device, east side of compound." "Acknowledged," Morrison responded. "Can you neutralize if necessary?" Maria adjusted her scope and calculated range and wind factors. "Affirmative. Clean shot available." The SEAL team held their position while Maria maintained observation of the radio operator. The individual moved between buildings, apparently conducting some form of security check. His routine suggested familiarity with the compound layout and potential awareness of proper defensive procedures. Minutes ticked by as both the SEAL team and their Overwatch sniper waited for optimal conditions. The guards' attention patterns became predictable, with obvious gaps in their surveillance coverage. Morrison identified the best window for approach and signaled his team to prepare for movement. Initiating approach in 30 seconds, Morrison announced, "Santos, we need continuous overwatch. Call out any threats immediately." Maria settled into her shooting position, controlling her breathing and heart rate. Through her scope, she could see the SEAL team emerging from cover and beginning their final approach to the compound. The morning air was still, providing ideal conditions for accurate shooting if the situation required it. The first indication of trouble came when one of the guards suddenly became alert, pointing toward the approaching SEAL team's position. Maria immediately assessed the threat level and prepared to engage. "Contact imminent," she reported. "Guard at main building has spotted movement. Recommend immediate action." Morrison's response was swift. "Take the shot if you have it." Maria's training took over as she acquired her target through the scope. Range, 847 meters. Wind, minimal. Target, clearly identified hostile with weapon raised. Her finger found the trigger as she controlled her breathing pattern. The rifle's report echoed across the valley as Maria's first shot found its mark. The guard dropped instantly, his weapon clattering to the ground. The sound of gunfire immediately alerted other defenders, who began emerging from buildings with weapons ready. "Target down," Maria reported calmly. Multiple hostiles emerging from buildings. Count 6, 7, 8 individuals with weapons. The SEAL team accelerated their approach as enemy fighters began organizing defensive positions. Maria tracked multiple targets through her scope, prioritizing threats based on their positions and weapons capabilities. 2 individuals appeared to be carrying heavier weapons that could pose significant danger to the approaching team. 2 hostiles with possible RPGs. Building 3, she called out. Engaging priority targets. Her second shot eliminated one of the RPG operators before he could bring his weapon to bear. The remaining enemy fighters began seeking cover, but their positions remained visible to Maria's elevated observation post. The compound's defensive layout, designed to repel ground assault, offered little protection from a skilled sniper position on the high ground. Morrison's team reached the compound perimeter as Maria continued providing supporting fire. Her third shot took down an enemy fighter who had established a position that could have flanked the advancing SEALs. Each shot was carefully aimed and precisely executed, demonstrating the training and skill that had earned her place on the team. Breaching main building, Morrison reported. Continue Overwatch. Unknown number of hostiles still inside. Maria shifted her focus to the remaining buildings, watching for enemy movement that might threaten her team members. The compound had become a chaotic battlefield, with smoke and dust obscuring some sight lines. She relied on her training to track targets and maintain situational awareness despite the challenging conditions. Through her scope, she observed two enemy fighters attempting to establish a flanking position using the smaller buildings for cover. Their movement pattern suggested military training and tactical awareness beyond that of typical insurgent fighters. Maria adjusted her position slightly to maintain clear shots at their probable positions. Two hostiles attempting flanking maneuver, buildings 2 and 4, she reported, maintaining observation. The SEAL team's breach of the main building triggered increased enemy activity throughout the compound. Maria counted at least 4 additional hostiles who had remained hidden during the initial assault. The mission was becoming more complex than intelligence estimates had suggested. Her fourth shot disrupted the flanking attempt, eliminating one of the better-trained enemy fighters. The remaining hostile immediately sought deeper cover, suggesting awareness of sniper threat and proper counter-sniper procedures. Maria made note of his position while scanning for other threats. Raven located, Morrison announced over the radio. Package secured. Preparing for extraction. The announcement brought both relief and increased urgency to the situation. Maria knew that enemy reinforcements could arrive at any time, making speed essential for successful mission completion. She maintained Overwatch while the SEAL team prepared to withdraw from the compound with their rescued operative. As Morrison's team began their extraction movement, Maria noticed vehicles approaching from the north. Dust clouds indicated multiple vehicles moving at high speed toward the compound. The timing suggested either coincidental arrival or coordinated response to the ongoing firefight. Multiple vehicles approaching from north, she reported immediately. Estimated 3 to 4 vehicles, high rate of speed. Possible reinforcements. Morrison's voice reflected the gravity of the situation. Can you determine vehicle types and passenger counts? Maria adjusted her scope to maximum magnification and studied the approaching vehicles. Pickup trucks appears to be armed individuals in truck beds. Estimated 12 to 15 additional hostiles incoming. The mission had suddenly become a race against time. The SEAL team needed to extract from the compound and reach their vehicles before enemy reinforcements could establish blocking positions. Maria's Overwatch position became even more critical as she would need to cover the team's withdrawal route. Initiating immediate extraction, Morrison announced. Santos, we need continuous fire support during withdrawal. Maria tracked the approaching enemy vehicles while simultaneously maintaining awareness of remaining threats within the compound. Her position allowed engagement of both threat sources, but ammunition management became a critical consideration. She needed to make every shot count while ensuring sufficient rounds remained for extended engagement. Her fifth shot targeted the lead vehicle's driver, causing the truck to veer off course and roll down a steep embankment. The dramatic crash temporarily disrupted the enemy reinforcement convoy, buying precious time for the SEAL team's withdrawal. Maria immediately shifted to the second vehicle in the convoy. The remaining enemy vehicles continued advancing despite the loss of their lead element. Maria could see armed fighters in the truck beds preparing to dismount and establish firing positions. The compound's terrain offered numerous locations suitable for defensive positions that could pin down the withdrawing SEAL team. Enemy vehicles reaching compound perimeter, Maria reported. Multiple dismounts with small arms. Engaging priority targets. Her sixth shot eliminated what appeared to be a squad leader directing the deployment of newly arrived enemy fighters. The loss of leadership created momentary confusion among the reinforcements, providing additional opportunities for effective sniper engagement. Morrison's team reached their withdrawal route as Maria continued providing covering fire. The coordination between ground team and sniper overwatch demonstrated the training and experience that made SEAL operations successful even under challenging conditions. Each team member understood their role and executed their responsibilities with professional precision. Package secured. Moving to extraction point, Morrison announced. Estimate 2 minutes to vehicles. Maria maintained observation of the entire battlefield while tracking her team's movement towards safety. Enemy fighters from both the original compound defenders and the newly arrived reinforcements were attempting to coordinate pursuit, but her continued sniper fire disrupted their organization efforts. The morning sun had risen higher, improving visibility, but also potentially exposing Maria's position to counter-sniper efforts. She remained focused on her mission while planning her own withdrawal route. The climb down from her position would require careful timing to avoid enemy observation. Her 7th shot eliminated an enemy fighter who had established a position that threatened the SEAL team's direct route to their vehicles. The engagement demonstrated the critical importance of skilled sniper support in special operations missions where small teams faced numerically superior enemy forces. As Morrison's team reached their vehicles and began departure preparations, Maria prepared for her own extraction. The enemy forces in the compound were becoming more organized despite her disruptive fire, and continued presence in her current position would become increasingly dangerous. Team departing compound area, Morrison reported. Santos, initiate your withdrawal when ready. Maria took one final scan of the battlefield through her scope, ensuring no immediate threats remained that could interfere with the team's escape. Satisfied with the tactical situation, she began carefully packing her equipment and preparing for the dangerous climb down from her overwatch position. The mission had been successful despite enemy reinforcements and higher resistance than anticipated. Raven was secure, the SEAL team was intact, and Maria's sniper support had proven decisive in ensuring mission success. As she began her descent, she reflected on the importance of preparation, training, and teamwork in overcoming adversity. The rocky terrain that had provided excellent overwatch position now presented challenges for safe withdrawal. Maria moved carefully, balancing speed with noise discipline to avoid alerting enemy forces to her exact location. Her rifle remained ready for immediate use if threats emerged during her movement. Behind her, the compound continued to show signs of enemy activity as fighters attempted to organize pursuit of the departed SEAL team. Maria's accurate shooting had eliminated key personnel and disrupted their coordination, but determined enemies could still pose threats if they managed to establish effective pursuit operations. The descent took longer than her initial climb, but Maria reached the base of the ridge without incident. The sound of vehicle engines indicated that Morrison's team was well clear of the immediate area, successfully completing their primary mission objective. Maria's own extraction remained to be accomplished. As she moved toward the predetermined pickup point, Maria mentally reviewed the engagement. 7 confirmed enemy eliminations with precise rifle fire had protected her team and ensured mission success. Each shot had been necessary and professionally executed according to rules of engagement and tactical requirements. The adrenaline of combat began subsiding as Maria focused on reaching safety. The morning's action had demonstrated once again why SEAL teams required such extensive training and why every team member's contribution was essential for mission success. Her role as sniper overwatch had proven decisive when enemy reinforcements threatened to overwhelm the extraction operation. The extraction point lay 3 kilometers south of Maria's sniper position, requiring careful movement through terrain that could conceal enemy pursuit forces. As she moved through the rocky landscape, her radio crackled with updates from Morrison's team, now safely distant from the compound, but monitoring her progress with concern. Santos, report your status. Morrison's voice carried the tension of a leader responsible for every team member's safe return. Moving toward extraction point Alpha, Maria responded quietly, pausing behind a large boulder to scan the area ahead. No immediate contacts. Estimate 15 minutes to pick up. The morning air carried sounds of continued activity from the compound behind her. Vehicle engines and shouted commands in Pashto indicated enemy forces were organizing search operations. Maria's accurate shooting had bought time, but determined pursuers could still pose significant threats if they managed to track her withdrawal route. Her movement discipline reflected years of specialized training in escape and evasion techniques. Each step was calculated to minimize noise and avoid exposed positions where enemy observation could detect her location. The rocky terrain provided numerous concealment options, but it also offered hiding places for potential ambush positions. As she reached a natural choke point between two ridge lines, Maria detected movement ahead. Through her rifle scope, she identified two figures moving parallel to her intended route. Their movement patterns and equipment suggested military training rather than civilian presence. She immediately sought concealment and assessed the tactical situation. The two individuals carried AK-47 rifles and moved with tactical awareness, suggesting they were part of enemy pursuit efforts rather than coincidental presence. Their position would require Maria to either engage them or find an alternative route to the extraction point. Time constraints made lengthy detours problematic. Contact two enemy personnel near extraction route, Maria reported over her radio, assessing options for bypass or engagement. Morrison's response reflected the gravity of the situation. Negative on engagement unless absolutely necessary. Can you find alternate route? Maria studied the terrain through her scope, identifying possible alternative paths to the extraction point. The mountainous landscape offered several options, but each would require additional time and energy. Her physical conditioning was excellent, but the stress of extended operations in high-altitude conditions was beginning to accumulate. The enemy fighters appear to be conducting a systematic search pattern, moving slowly but methodically through areas where a withdrawing sniper might seek concealment. Their tactical approach suggested professional military training and familiarity with counter-sniper operations. Maria recognized the need for careful planning to avoid detection. She selected a route that would require climbing higher into the ridgeline before descending toward the extraction point. The path would add approximately 20 minutes to her movement time, but it offered better concealment and reduced probability of enemy contact. Physical demands would be significant, but mission success required reaching the pickup safely. Taking alternate route via ridge approach, Maria reported. Estimate additional 20 minutes to extraction point. Acknowledged, Morrison replied. We're monitoring radio traffic. Enemy forces appear to be expanding search operations. Move quickly, but stay concealed. Maria began the challenging climb up the ridgeline, using natural handholds and careful foot placement to minimize noise. Her equipment weight, including rifle and ammunition, added complexity to the ascent. Each movement required balancing speed with noise discipline and physical safety. The higher elevation provided better visibility of the surrounding area, but it also potentially exposed her to observation from distant enemy positions. Maria relied on terrain masking and natural concealment to avoid detection while maintaining progress toward the extraction point. Through her scope, she could see the enemy search teams had expanded their operations. At least 3 separate groups were now visible, moving through different areas of the valley. Their coordination suggested radio communication and centralized command structure. The enemy was taking her presence seriously and dedicating significant resources to tracking her movement. As Maria reached the ridgeline crest, she paused to assess the situation. The extraction point remained accessible via the alternate route, but enemy activity had increased substantially. Morrison's team would need updated information to ensure safe pickup operations. Multiple enemy search teams visible from my position, she reported. Count 3 separate groups conducting systematic sweep. Extraction point appears clear currently. Morrison's voice reflected concern for the developing situation. Copy that. We're en route to extraction point. Estimate 10 minutes to arrival. Maria began her descent toward the extraction point using a steep ravine that offered excellent concealment but challenging footing. The loose rocks and steep angle required careful movement to avoid falls that could cause injury or noise that might alert enemy forces to her location. Halfway down the ravine, Maria heard helicopter rotors in the distance. The sound initially caused alarm, as enemy aviation assets could make extraction impossible. However, the rotor signature suggested American aircraft rather than enemy helicopters. She paused to listen more carefully and determine aircraft type and intentions. Aircraft approaching from east, Maria reported. Cannot determine friendly or hostile. Morrison's response brought welcome relief. That's our backup. Close air support arriving early. Apache gunship with full ordnance load. The arrival of air support changed the tactical situation dramatically. Enemy search operations would need to account for overhead threats, potentially reducing their effectiveness and willingness to operate in exposed areas. Maria felt the psychological boost that came with knowing additional firepower was available if needed. She continued her descent through the ravine, making better time now that air support was overhead. The Apache helicopter's presence served as both reconnaissance asset and deterrent to enemy pursuit operations. Maria could hear the distinctive sound of the aircraft circling the general area. Apache on station, Morrison announced. Pilot reports multiple enemy vehicles moving in search patterns. He's maintaining overwatch and ready to engage if necessary. Maria reached the bottom of the ravine and began moving toward the designated extraction point. The terrain transitioned from steep mountainside to more moderate valley floor, offering faster movement, but reduced concealment. She relied on speed and the Apache's overwatch to cover the final approach. The extraction point was located behind a natural rock formation that provided concealment for vehicle operations. Maria could see dust clouds indicating Morrison's team was approaching from the opposite direction. The timing would be critical to minimize exposure time for all personnel involved. Extraction point in sight, Maria reported. Moving to pickup position. As she approached the rock formation, Maria heard vehicle engines growing louder. Morrison's team was arriving precisely on schedule, demonstrating the coordination and timing that made special operations successful. The Apache overhead provided additional security during the vulnerable pickup phase. Morrison's Humvee emerged from behind the rocks, immediately positioning for rapid departure. Maria sprinted the final 50 meters to the vehicle, maintaining alertness for potential threats during the most exposed portion of her movement. The team's discipline and preparation made the pickup smooth despite challenging circumstances. Package aboard, Morrison announced as Maria climbed into the vehicle, initiating immediate departure. The Humvee accelerated rapidly away from the extraction point as the Apache maintained overhead coverage. Maria finally allowed herself to relax slightly as the distance from enemy forces increased. The mission had been successful, but the intensity of operations would remain with her for days to come. During the ride back to base, Morrison briefed Maria on developments during her extraction. The compound raid had yielded additional intelligence beyond the rescued CIA operative. Documents and communication equipment captured during the operation provided valuable information about enemy networks and planned operations. Raven's intelligence was even more valuable than we realized, Morrison explained. He had identified a major supply route used to move weapons and explosives. The information we gathered today will support multiple future operations. Maria reflected on her role in the mission's success. 7 confirmed enemy eliminations with precision rifle fire had protected her team and enabled mission completion despite unexpected enemy reinforcements. Each shot had been necessary and professionally executed according to training and rules of engagement. The Apache escort remained with their convoy until they reached friendly territory, ensuring safe passage through areas where enemy pursuit remained possible. The pilot reported no further enemy activity along their route, suggesting the search operations had been abandoned or redirected elsewhere. Back at the forward operating base, the team underwent standard post-mission procedures, including equipment inspection, ammunition accounting, and initial mission debrief. Maria's rifle required cleaning after extensive use, and her shooting log documented 7 rounds expended with 7 confirmed enemy eliminations. The medical team examined all personnel for injuries or signs of combat stress. Maria showed no physical injuries, but the intensity of solo operations behind enemy lines had been mentally demanding. The medical staff scheduled follow-up evaluations to ensure no delayed stress reactions developed. During the detailed mission debrief, intelligence officers questioned Maria extensively about her observations of enemy tactics and equipment. Her elevated position had provided unique insights into enemy operations and defensive procedures that would be valuable for planning future missions in the region. The enemy reinforcements arrived faster than expected, Maria reported. Their response time suggests either nearby positioning or communication capabilities we didn't account for in planning. The intelligence officers made notes about enemy capabilities and response procedures. Maria's observations would be incorporated into future intelligence assessments and mission planning processes. Every detail could potentially save lives in subsequent operations. Morrison commended Maria's performance during the official debrief. Santos provided exceptional sniper support throughout the mission. Her accurate shooting neutralized multiple threats and enabled successful extraction under challenging conditions. The rescued CIA operative, callsign Raven, also participated in the debrief when medical personnel cleared him for questioning. His intelligence about enemy operations confirmed the importance of the rescue mission and validated the risks taken to extract him safely. The enemy was planning major operations against coalition forces, Raven reported. The intelligence I gathered and the documents captured during the rescue will disrupt their entire operational network. Maria felt pride in her contribution to mission success, but she also understood that each operation was part of a larger campaign against enemy forces. Her role as team sniper would continue to be critical in future missions requiring precision fire support. The team spent the following day conducting equipment maintenance and preparing for future operations. Maria's rifle received detailed inspection and minor adjustments to ensure continued accuracy. Her shooting performance during the mission had been exceptional, but constant maintenance was required for sustained effectiveness. Morrison announced that the team would have 48 hours for rest and equipment preparation before their next mission briefing. The operational tempo in their area of responsibility remained high, with multiple high-value targets requiring attention from Special Operations Forces. During the rest period, Maria reflected on her development as both a sniper and team member. 8 months with SEAL Team 7 had presented numerous challenges and learning opportunities. Each mission built on previous experience and added to her professional capabilities. The team dynamics had evolved significantly since her initial assignment. Her fellow SEALs now trusted her skills and judgment completely, understanding that her unique capabilities enhanced the team's overall effectiveness. The initial skepticism about female integration had been replaced by professional respect. Maria used her rest time for physical conditioning and mental preparation. The physical demands of special operations required constant attention to fitness and health. Mental preparation involved reviewing lessons learned from recent missions and studying intelligence reports about potential future targets. Communication with family remained limited due to operational security requirements, but Maria was able to send brief messages confirming her safety and well-being. The isolation of deployed operations was challenging, but her commitment to the mission and her teammates provided strong motivation. The base environment offered limited recreation facilities, but Maria enjoyed the camaraderie with her team members. Card games, equipment discussions, and Shared meals helped build the personal relationships that made professional cooperation more effective during high-stress operations. Morrison conducted informal discussions with each team member about mission performance and areas for improvement. His feedback to Maria focused on her exceptional shooting skills and tactical awareness, while encouraging continued development of her leadership capabilities. "Your performance as team sniper has been outstanding," Morrison told her. "We're looking at opportunities for you to take on additional responsibilities in future operations." The prospect of expanded responsibilities excited Maria while also presenting new challenges. Leadership roles in special operations required skills beyond individual technical expertise. She welcomed the opportunity to grow professionally within the SEAL community. Intelligence briefings revealed that enemy forces in their operational area remained active despite recent setbacks. The successful rescue mission had disrupted some enemy plans, but other threats continued to develop. The team would soon be called upon for additional operations requiring their specialized capabilities. Maria prepared mentally for future challenges while taking pride in her recent contributions to mission success. 7 confirmed enemy eliminations during a single mission represented exceptional performance for any sniper, but she understood that each future engagement would present new challenges requiring continued excellence. The bonds formed during combat operations created lasting relationships among team members. Maria's integration into SEAL Team 7 had been successful not only because of her technical skills, but also because of her commitment to team success above personal recognition. As she prepared her equipment for the next mission briefing, Maria reflected on the privilege of serving with such exceptional professionals. Every mission offered opportunities to contribute to important national security objectives while working alongside the most capable operators in the military. 3 weeks after the successful rescue mission, Maria found herself studying intelligence reports for what would become the most challenging sniper engagement of her military career. The target was a high-value individual known as the Engineer, a bomb maker responsible for dozens of attacks against coalition forces throughout the region. Lieutenant Commander Morrison gathered his team around the briefing table as drone footage displayed a heavily fortified compound built into a mountainside cliff face. The structure appeared impregnable from most angles, with natural rock formations providing protection from direct assault and elevated positions offering commanding fields of fire. Intelligence indicates the Engineer is planning a major attack using vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices, Morrison explained, pointing to satellite images showing unusual activity at the compound. "We have a narrow window to eliminate this threat before the attack is launched." Maria studied the tactical challenges presented by the target location. The compound's position on the cliff face made traditional assault approaches nearly impossible. However, her trained eye identified potential sniper positions on opposing ridgelines that could provide clear shots at specific areas of the compound. "What's the range from potential overwatch positions?" she asked, mentally calculating bullet trajectory and environmental factors that would affect long-distance shooting accuracy. Morrison consulted his tactical notes. Minimum range would be approximately 1,200 meters from the closest feasible position. Maximum effective range could extend to 1,500 meters, depending on your selected firing position. The distances involved pushed the limits of precision shooting, even with Maria's exceptional skills and specialized equipment. Environmental factors including wind, altitude, and temperature would significantly affect bullet flight characteristics. Success would require perfect conditions and flawless execution. Petty Officer Chun examined the compound's defensive preparations through his demolitions expert perspective. They've reinforced the main structure with concrete barriers and positioned heavy weapons at strategic choke points. "This isn't just a hiding place, it's a fortress." Sergeant Kim reviewed communication intelligence gathered from surveillance operations. Radio traffic suggests the Engineer has up to 30 security personnel at the compound. They're maintaining strict communication protocols and rotating guard schedules every 4 hours. The intelligence painted a picture of a sophisticated enemy operation with professional security measures and significant defensive capabilities. Maria recognized that her sniper support would be even more critical given the challenging assault conditions the team would face. Morrison outlined the mission concept, a coordinated assault combining direct action by the SEAL team with precision sniper fire from Maria's overwatch position. The timing would be crucial, as her shots would need to eliminate specific threats at exact moments to enable the team's successful penetration of the compound's defenses. Santos, your primary targets will be the heavy weapon positions covering the main approach routes, Morrison explained. We need those threats neutralized before we can advance within effective range of our own weapons. Maria accepted the assignment while understanding the exceptional challenges it presented. Shooting at such extreme ranges required accounting for numerous variables that could affect bullet placement. A single miscalculation could result in mission failure and potential team casualties. The team spent 2 full days planning every detail of the operation. Weather forecasts predicted optimal conditions with minimal wind and clear visibility. Ammunition selection focused on match-grade rounds specifically designed for extreme range accuracy. Equipment preparation included backup systems for every critical component. Maria's rifle received detailed attention from the team's weapons specialist, with scope adjustments calibrated for the specific ranges and environmental conditions expected during mission. Test firing at the base range confirmed proper zero and validated trajectory calculations for the distances involved. During mission rehearsals, Maria practiced the specific shooting positions she would use during the actual operation. Physical conditioning focused on the stability and breath control required for precision shooting at extreme ranges. Mental preparation involved visualization exercises to prepare for the stress of combat conditions. The insertion plan required helicopter transport to a landing zone 8 kilometers from the target compound. Maria would then conduct a solo infiltration to her sniper position while the SEAL team moved to their assault positions via a different route. Coordination would be maintained through encrypted radio communications. On mission day, weather conditions matched the favorable forecast with clear skies and minimal wind. The helicopter insertion proceeded without incident, depositing both Maria and the SEAL team at their respective starting points before dawn. Radio checks confirmed communication systems were functioning properly. Maria's movement to her sniper position required 3 hours of careful climbing through challenging mountain terrain. Her equipment load included rifle, ammunition, communications gear, and survival equipment necessary for extended solo operations. Physical demands were significant, but her conditioning proved adequate for the challenges. Reaching her designated position just after sunrise, Maria established her hide site among natural rock formations that provided concealment while maintaining clear sight lines to the target compound. Through her high-powered scope, she could see the defensive positions Morrison had identified during mission planning. Overwatch in position, she reported quietly. Visual confirmation of compound layout matches intelligence reports, counting multiple defensive positions with heavy weapons. Morrison's voice came through her earpiece with characteristic calm professionalism. Acknowledged. We're beginning our approach. Stand by for target designation. Through her scope, Maria observed the compound's morning routine. Guards rotated positions according to a predictable schedule, and she noted the locations of heavy weapons that posed the greatest threats to the approaching SEAL team. Her shooting priorities were clear, but the extreme ranges involved demanded perfect execution. The SEAL team's approach took 90 minutes as they navigated through concealed routes that avoided enemy observation posts. Maria maintained continuous surveillance of the compound while tracking her team's progress through periodic radio updates. The coordination between ground team and sniper overwatch required precise timing. Beginning final approach, Morrison announced. Santos, prepare to engage designated targets on my command. Maria settled into her shooting position and began the mental process of extreme range precision shooting. Environmental conditions were optimal, with steady air and excellent visibility. Her breathing pattern slowed as she prepared for the most challenging shots of her career. The first target was a heavy machine gun position located on the compound's eastern wall. Range, 1,347 meters. The gunner was partially concealed behind concrete barriers, requiring precise bullet placement to ensure effective engagement. Maria adjusted her scope for the exact range and environmental conditions. Target 1 designated. Morrison's voice carried the tension of imminent action. Heavy weapon position, eastern wall. Engage when ready. Maria's training took complete control as she aligned her crosshairs and controlled her breathing. The shot required accounting for bullet drop, wind drift, and the target's partial concealment. Her finger found the trigger as she made final adjustments to her aim point. The rifle's report echoed across the valley as Maria's first shot traveled the 1,500-meter distance to its target. Through her scope, she observed the bullet's impact and the immediate elimination of the machine gun threat. Her precision had been perfect despite the extreme range involved. Target 1 eliminated, she reported calmly while already transitioning to her second priority target. The second target presented even greater challenges. A sniper position located on the compound's highest tower. Range, 1,423 meters. The enemy sniper posed a direct threat to Maria's own position, making his elimination critical for her continued effectiveness and survival. Morrison's team accelerated their assault as Maria's first shot alerted compound defenders to the incoming attack. Enemy fighters began taking defensive positions, but the loss of their heavy machine gun had created a critical gap in their coverage that the SEALs could exploit. Target 2 designated, Morrison announced. Sniper position, North Tower. High priority threat to Overwatch. Maria identified the enemy sniper through her scope and began the complex calculations required for another extreme range shot. The target was partially concealed and appeared to be aware of her general location. The engagement had become a deadly duel between professional snipers. Her second shot eliminated the enemy sniper before he could effectively engage her position. The precision required for such shooting at extreme range demonstrated the exceptional training and natural ability that made Maria one of the military's most capable snipers. Target 2 eliminated, she reported while scanning for additional threats that could interfere with the SEAL team's assault. Morrison's team reached the compound perimeter as Maria continued providing Overwatch support. The elimination of key defensive positions had created opportunities for the SEALs to advance, but numerous other threats remained throughout the compound. Her shooting would continue to be critical for mission success. The third target was a rocket-propelled grenade position that could devastate the advancing SEAL team, if not neutralized quickly. Range, 1,289 meters. The operator was moving between covered positions, requiring Maria to time her shot perfectly to catch him during a brief exposure. Target 3 designated, Morrison announced with urgency in his voice. RPG position, Southern Courtyard. Immediate threat to ground team. Maria tracked the moving target through her scope, calculating the timing required to intercept him during his next movement. Shooting at moving targets at extreme range required exceptional skill and perfect timing. She waited for the optimal moment to engage. Her third shot eliminated the RPG threat, just as the operator prepared to fire at Morrison's advancing team. The timing had been perfect, demonstrating the coordination between sniper and ground team that made special operations successful under the most challenging conditions. Morrison's team breached the compound's outer defenses as Maria maintained continuous overwatch. Her elimination of 3 key defensive positions had enabled the assault to proceed, but the compound still contained numerous enemy fighters who posed ongoing threats to mission success. Compound breach successful, Morrison reported. Moving to locate primary target. Continue overwatch for additional threats. Maria expanded her surveillance to cover potential enemy reinforcement routes and remaining defensive positions. The compound's layout included multiple buildings where enemy fighters could establish new firing positions. Her continued vigilance would be essential throughout the assault phase. The fourth target emerged as enemy fighters attempted to establish a new heavy weapon position that could threaten the SEAL team's withdrawal route. Range: 1,356 meters. The operators were using a doorway for cover, requiring precise shot placement to penetrate their concealment. Target 4 designated, Morrison announced. New heavy weapon position, main building entrance. Blocking withdrawal route. Maria engaged the new threat with her fourth shot, eliminating the heavy weapon team before they could establish effective fire on the SEAL team's position. Her continued accuracy at extreme ranges was providing decisive tactical advantage throughout the operation. The assault phase continued as Morrison's team penetrated deeper into the compound searching for the engineer. Maria's Overwatch role expanded to include surveillance of potential escape routes that the target might use to avoid capture. The compound's cliffside location limited escape options, but didn't eliminate them entirely. Through her scope, Maria observed movement in what appeared to be a concealed exit from the compound's main building. Intelligence reports had not identified this route, suggesting the engineer might be attempting to escape through a previously unknown passage. Possible escape route identified. Maria reported immediately. Movement visible at coordinates. She provided precise location information that would allow Morrison's team to intercept the potential escapee. Morrison acknowledged the information while directing part of his team to cover the newly identified escape route. The intelligence demonstrated the value of continuous sniper overwatch in providing real-time battlefield awareness that could make the difference between mission success and target escape. The fifth target appeared as enemy fighters attempted to establish covering fire for their leader's escape attempt. Range: 1,412 meters. Multiple targets were visible, requiring Maria to prioritize threats based on their immediate danger to mission success. Multiple targets at escape route, Morrison announced. Engage priority threats to prevent target escape. Maria's fifth shot eliminated the apparent leader of the covering force, disrupting their coordination and reducing the effectiveness of their protective efforts. The shot had been taken under time pressure while maintaining the accuracy required for effective engagement at extreme range. The SEAL team successfully intercepted the engineer's escape attempt, capturing the high-value target alive as planned. The coordination between ground assault and sniper overwatch had enabled mission success despite the compound's formidable defensive preparations and the enemy's professional security measures. Primary target captured, Morrison announced with satisfaction. Package secured. Preparing for extraction. Maria maintained overwatch while the SEAL team prepared their prisoner for transport and gathered intelligence materials from the compound. Her role would continue until all team members were safely clear of the target area and potential enemy pursuit forces. The successful mission represented a significant victory against enemy operations in the region. The engineer's capture would disrupt planned attacks and provide valuable intelligence about bomb-making techniques and supply networks. Maria's exceptional shooting had been instrumental in achieving these critical objectives. As the team began their withdrawal from the compound, Maria prepared for her own extraction from the sniper position. The long-range engagements had required intense concentration and physical control that left her mentally and physically drained despite the successful outcomes. The extraction phase presented new challenges as Maria prepared to withdraw from her sniper position while Morrison's team transported their high-value prisoner through enemy territory. Intelligence reports indicated that enemy forces throughout the region had been alerted to the successful capture of the engineer and were mobilizing to intercept the SEAL team's withdrawal route. Maria began carefully packing her equipment while maintaining surveillance of potential threat areas around the compound. The extreme-range shooting had expended significant ammunition, but she retained sufficient rounds for defensive engagement during her extraction movement. Her rifle required immediate cleaning due to the residue buildup from sustained firing. Overwatch beginning withdrawal, she reported to Morrison's team. Equipment secured. Moving to extraction point Charlie in 30 minutes. Morrison's voice reflected concern for her solo movement through terrain that might now contain enemy pursuit forces. Acknowledged. Apache support will be available for emergency situations. Route security is unknown due to enemy response to our operation. The helicopter gunship that had provided support during previous missions was again available, but Maria preferred to rely on stealth and tactical movement rather than obvious air support that could compromise her concealment. The Apache would remain on standby unless emergency situations required immediate intervention. Her movement from the sniper position required descending through rocky terrain that offered both concealment and physical challenges. The morning's intense shooting had been mentally demanding, and the physiological stress of extreme precision work was beginning to affect her energy levels. Careful movement would be essential to avoid falls or injuries. As Maria reached the base of her firing position, she heard distant helicopter rotors that didn't match the signature of friendly aircraft. The sound suggested enemy aviation assets were being deployed to search for the SEAL team and their captured prisoner. Her withdrawal timeline became more urgent as enemy air assets could detect individual personnel movement. Enemy aircraft detected from my position, she reported immediately. Helicopter signature, unknown type. Appears to be conducting search operations. Morrison acknowledged the threat while adjusting his team's withdrawal plans. Copy that. We're moving to alternate extraction point. Apache is en route to your area for counter-air operations if necessary. The presence of enemy aircraft complicated Maria's extraction significantly. Her planned route included several exposed areas where helicopter observation could detect her movement. Alternative routes would require additional time and energy while increasing the risk of ground-based enemy contact. Maria selected a path through heavier terrain that offered better concealment from aerial observation. The route would be physically demanding, but it provided natural cover that should prevent detection by enemy aircraft. Her conditioning would be tested during the challenging movement through mountain terrain. The sound of jet aircraft overhead indicated that friendly air support was arriving to counter enemy aviation threats. The distinctive signature of coalition fighter aircraft provided reassurance that air superiority would be maintained during the extraction operations. Enemy helicopters would be forced to withdraw or risk engagement with superior aircraft. Friendly air support on station, Morrison announced. Enemy aircraft withdrawing from area. Continue with planned extraction. Maria accelerated her movement toward the extraction point as the immediate air threat diminished. However, the enemy response demonstrated their commitment to preventing the engineers' removal from the operational area. Ground-based pursuit forces would likely continue efforts to intercept the SEAL team. Through her radio, Maria monitored communications between Morrison's team and their command element. The captured prisoner was providing valuable intelligence even during transport, revealing details about planned attacks and enemy operational procedures. The mission's intelligence value was exceeding expectations. As she moved through a narrow valley that provided good concealment, Maria detected movement ahead that appeared to be human rather than wildlife. Her immediate assessment suggested possible enemy personnel, though the distance and terrain made positive identification difficult. She sought concealment while observing the potential threat. Through her rifle scope, Maria confirmed the presence of two individuals carrying weapons and moving with tactical awareness. Their positioning and movement patterns suggested they were part of enemy search operations rather than coincidental civilian presence. The tactical situation required careful assessment before proceeding. Contact two enemy personnel blocking extraction route, she reported quietly, assessing options for bypass or engagement. Morrison's response reflected the team's situation with their high-value prisoner. Negative on engagement unless absolutely necessary. Can you find alternate approach to extraction point? Maria studied the terrain for alternative routes that would avoid enemy contact while still reaching the designated pickup area. The mountainous landscape offered several options, but each would require additional time and physical effort. Her energy reserves were adequate, but extended operations in high-altitude conditions were accumulating stress. She identified a route that would require climbing to higher elevation before descending toward the extraction point from a different direction. The path would add significant distance and physical demands, but it appeared to offer better concealment and reduced probability of enemy contact. Taking alternate route via ridge approach, Maria reported. Estimate additional 40 minutes to extraction point. Acknowledged, Morrison replied. We're encountering increased enemy activity along our route. May need to adjust pickup timing. The tactical situation was becoming more complex as enemy forces responded to the successful capture operation. Both Maria and Morrison's team were dealing with enemy pursuit efforts that could threaten mission completion if not properly managed. Coordination and communication would be critical for ensuring everyone's safe extraction. Maria began the challenging climb toward higher elevation, using natural handholds and careful foot placement to navigate the steep terrain. Her equipment weight added complexity to the movement, but her physical conditioning proved adequate for the demands. Each step required balancing speed with noise discipline. From her elevated position, Maria could see increased activity throughout the valley system below. Multiple vehicle convoys and personnel groups were visible moving through various areas, suggesting a coordinated enemy search operation. The scope of enemy response exceeded intelligence estimates about their local capabilities. Multiple enemy elements visible from elevated position, she reported. Large-scale search operation in progress throughout area. Morrison's acknowledgement carried tension about the developing tactical situation. We're observing similar activity from our position. This is bigger than expected. Adjusting to backup extraction point. The change to backup extraction procedures required Maria to modify her own movement plans. The alternate pickup location was further from her current position and would require crossing terrain that might contain enemy search teams. Careful route selection would be essential for avoiding contact during the approach. As Maria continued her movement through the mountain terrain, she maintained communication with both Morrison's team and their air support elements. The Apache gunship remained available for emergency situations, while higher-altitude aircraft provided surveillance of enemy movements throughout the region. Apache reports multiple enemy convoys converging on primary extraction area, Morrison announced. Backup extraction point appears clear. All elements adjust to backup procedures. Maria acknowledged the change while calculating new approach routes to the backup extraction point. The additional distance would test her physical reserves, but successful mission completion required reaching the pickup safely. Her determination and training would carry her through the challenges. The terrain toward the backup extraction point included several areas that would require exposed movement across open ground. Maria timed these crossings carefully to coincide with periods when enemy aircraft were not visible in the immediate area. Speed and concealment discipline were both essential for avoiding detection. During one of these exposed movements, Maria heard the sound of vehicles approaching her general area. She immediately sought concealment among rocks and vegetation while assessing the threat level. The vehicle sound suggested multiple trucks moving along a road that paralleled her intended route. Through her scope, Maria observed a convoy of 3 pickup trucks carrying armed personnel. Their movement direction and speed suggested they were responding to radio reports about possible coalition force locations rather than conducting systematic search operations. The convoy passed her concealed position without detecting her presence. Enemy convoy passed near my position, she reported quietly. 3 vehicles with armed personnel. Continuing toward backup extraction point. Morrison acknowledged her report while providing updates on his team's situation. We're approaching backup extraction point. Helicopter inbound for pickup in 15 minutes. The timeline gave Maria clear objectives for reaching the pickup area safely. Her current position was approximately 10 minutes from the backup extraction point, allowing minimal time margin for unexpected delays or additional enemy contact. She accelerated her movement while maintaining noise discipline. As she approached the final approach to the extraction point, Maria conducted careful surveillance to ensure the area remained clear of enemy forces. The backup location had been selected specifically for its concealment and accessibility characteristics, but enemy search operations could have discovered it despite security measures. The extraction point appeared clear of immediate threats when Maria reached observation distance. Natural rock formations provided concealment for helicopter operations while offering multiple route options for personnel approaching from different directions. The location demonstrated good tactical planning by mission coordinators. Extraction point in sight, Maria reported. Area appears clear. Moving to pickup position. Morrison's team arrived simultaneously from their different approach route, demonstrating coordination that made special operations successful despite challenging circumstances. Their prisoner remained secured and cooperative, providing additional intelligence even during the stressful extraction procedures. The rescue helicopter appeared precisely on schedule, approaching the extraction point with tactical flying procedures that minimized exposure time on the ground. The crew's professionalism and timing reflected the high standards maintained throughout Special Operations Aviation units. All personnel aboard, Morrison announced as both his team and Maria boarded the aircraft. Package secure. Departing extraction point. The helicopter departed rapidly while maintaining low-altitude flight profiles that reduced vulnerability to enemy ground fire. Maria finally allowed herself to relax as distance from enemy forces increased and friendly territory approached. The mission had been successful despite unexpected enemy response levels. During the flight back to base, Maria reflected on the exceptional shooting performance that had enabled mission success. 5 confirmed enemy eliminations at extreme ranges exceeding 1,400 meters represented some of the finest precision shooting ever documented in combat conditions. Each shot had been necessary and professionally executed. Morrison debriefed his team during the return flight, emphasizing the importance of coordination and communication in overcoming unexpected challenges. Maria's sniper support had been decisive in neutralizing defensive positions that could have prevented successful assault operations. Santos provided exceptional overwatch throughout the mission, Morrison announced to the team. Her precision shooting at extreme ranges made the assault possible and ensured mission success. The captured prisoner continued providing valuable intelligence during transport, revealing details about planned operations that would enable preventive measures by coalition forces. The successful mission would have strategic implications beyond the immediate tactical victory. Back at the forward operating base, the team underwent standard post-mission procedures, including medical evaluation and detailed intelligence debriefs. Maria's rifle performance was documented for future reference, with all 5 shots confirmed as successful engagements at ranges exceeding normal sniper capabilities. Intelligence officers questioned Maria extensively about her observations of enemy tactics and capabilities. Her elevated position during the mission had provided unique insights into enemy operational procedures that would be valuable for future mission planning in the region. The mission's success led to immediate recognition from higher command levels. Maria's shooting performance was documented for potential awards consideration, while the entire team received commendation for professional excellence under challenging conditions. During the formal debrief, mission analysts confirmed that the engineers' capture had disrupted planned attacks that could have resulted in significant coalition casualties. The intelligence gathered during the operation revealed enemy capabilities and intentions that had not been previously understood. This mission prevented major attacks and provided intelligence that will save lives, the intelligence officer concluded. The professional performance of all team members made this success possible. Maria felt deep satisfaction with her contribution to such important mission objectives. Her development as both a sniper and team member had reached new levels during the challenging operation. Each mission built on previous experience while presenting new opportunities for professional growth. The team was granted extended rest periods following the intense operation. Maria used this time for equipment maintenance, physical conditioning, and mental preparation for future missions. The operational tempo in their area remained high, with continuous requirements for special operations capabilities. Her integration into SEAL Team 7 had been completely successful, with her teammates now viewing her as an indispensable team member. The initial skepticism about female integration had been replaced by profound professional respect based on demonstrated performance under the most demanding conditions. Communication with family remained limited due to security requirements, but Maria was able to convey her continued safety and professional satisfaction with her role. The challenges of deployment were balanced by the knowledge that her skills were making important contributions to mission success and national security objectives. Morrison recommended Maria for advanced sniper training programs that would further develop her already exceptional capabilities. Her performance at extreme ranges suggested potential for even more specialized roles within the special operations community. "Your shooting skills are among the finest I've observed," Morrison told her during private counseling. "We're exploring opportunities for you to share your expertise with other snipers throughout the special operations community." The prospect of training responsibilities excited Maria while representing recognition of her professional development. Teaching others would require skills beyond individual technical expertise, but she welcomed opportunities to contribute to the broader special operations mission. As she prepared for the next mission briefing, Maria reflected on her journey from questioned team member to respected professional. Each successful operation had built confidence and demonstrated the value of diversity in special operations capabilities. Her unique combination of skills and determination had proven invaluable for mission success. The bonds formed during combat operations would last throughout her military career and beyond. SEAL Team 7 had become more than a professional assignment. It had become a brotherhood that included her as a valued and essential member. The mutual respect and trust developed through shared hardships and successes created relationships that would endure long after deployment concluded. Looking toward future challenges, Maria felt prepared for whatever missions the team might face. Her proven capabilities under the most demanding conditions provided confidence that she could continue contributing to important national security objectives while growing professionally within the special operations community. The mountain valleys of Afghanistan would remain dangerous territory, requiring constant vigilance and professional excellence. Maria's rifle would continue serving as a precision instrument protecting her teammates and enabling mission success in the ongoing campaign against enemy forces threatening coalition objectives and regional stability.